We must respect the will of the individual. Take it easy, I can assure you that everything will turn out fine. Let go of your negative outlook on life. Always maintain a positive attitude. You should be fair to everyone, regardless of national origin, gender, or creed. Equality is guaranteed by the Constitution. He leaned against the pillar and gazed at the Statue of Liberty. A woman passed by me, giving off a subtle scent of perfume. It reminded me of my ex-girlfriend. Natto smells awful but tastes terrific. I'm soaked with sweat. Stand back. You stink. Take a shower. Bob was so beside himself that he could scarcely tell fact from fiction. His new novel, which combines prose with his gift for poetry, is going to be published. An up-to-date edition of the encyclopedia will come out next month. Miss Yamada translated the fascinating fairy tale into plain Japanese. The following passage is quoted from a well-known fable. Are you familiar with contemporary literature? I know next to nothing about it. At times, I confuse carp with carp. Don't be shy, your pronunciation is more or less correct. This article contains tips for those who are eager to increase their vocabulary. His latest works are on display at the City Hall. They are fabulous beyond description. Could you move over a little? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was taking up so much space. What's this ugly object? This is a piece of abstract art. I begged Richie to lend me $100, but he shook his head, saying, I'm broke too. I'm up to buy things on impulse whenever something is on sale. So am I. As it is, ordinary people cannot afford to purchase such luxury. As we anticipated, the unemployment rate has risen 3 quarters in a row. I have to cut down my expenses, so from now on, I'm going to keep track of them on a daily basis. In any case, the union has to compromise to a certain extent. Competent mechanics are in great demand, so they earn decent wages. The president announced a concrete plan to carry out welfare reform. His policy will no doubt lead to dismal consequences. It needs a thorough review. It goes without saying that the aging of society is inevitable. Please take a look at this chart. It indicates that juvenile delinquency is on the increase at an alarming rate. In many business districts, there are a lot of vacant lots which have been for sale for years. The population density in the metropolis is gradually decreasing. In all likelihood, the birth rate will continue to decline steadily for years to come. The power plant supplies the remote county with electricity. You are not allowed to operate this device without permission. In fact, the inhabitants have been exposed to radiation. One cannot emphasize too much the potential danger of nuclear energy. For years, the press overlooked the problem, but now, if anything, they are making too much of it. As well as cultivating grain, a farmer runs a grocery store. The research institute was established in the late 1960s. Why don't you consult Star in person? He's by far the most prominent attorney around here. I'll write it down just in case because I have a bad memory. The lawyer recommended that his client take legal action against the insurance company. They are entitled to be compensated for their injuries. So far, no less than 200 people have died of the flu epidemic. The effect of those pills is intense but brief. He has a habit of biting his nails. It's absolutely disgusting. My grandma strained her back when she bent down to hug my son. If you have a stiff neck, try another remedy. Medical breakthroughs have brought about great benefits for humanity as a whole. We can't apply cloning techniques to cattle, let alone human beings. It's forbidden. Whales are classified as mammals. The theory of evolution is beyond the reach of my imagination. The biologist is proud of his historic discovery and doesn't mind boasting about it. On ethical grounds, they are opposed to so-called gene therapy. The initial symptoms of the disease are fever and a sore throat. The structure of the brain is complex. The structure of the brain is complex. Owing to illness, some representatives were absent from the annual conference. Little by little, my son-in-law is recovering from stomach cancer, and now he is in good spirits. This is fake, isn't it? Hey, it's a genuine antique. No way. Anything else? That's it. For here or to go. How much is this rug? $100, including tax. Okay, I'll take it. I don't think those pants look good on you. Try these on. They are rarely in now. He got out of the cab in haste, saying, keep the change. Delivery service is available to our customers for a slight extra charge. It's on me. No, you treat me every time we eat out. Well, okay, let's split the check then. While I was hanging out at the mall, I ran into Cam. I was short of cash, so I withdrew the $100 that I had deposited in my bank account last week. On the way home, she was robbed of her purse. That's all. Tell me how it happened. I'll explain it to you later. My parents gave me a 6 p.m. curfew as a punishment because I broke my promise. As the proverb goes, the end justifies the means. Now that I've found that there's no one to turn to, I'll have to stand on my own 2 feet. The chairman cut me off, saying, "Time to wind things up. Let's take a vote." We exchanged frank opinions in the meeting, but consensus is yet to be reached regarding this matter. Do you agree or disagree with him? I'm on his side. Strictly speaking, his view differs somewhat from mine. Could you go over it again? I couldn't make out what you were getting at. No one backed me up at first, but eventually I talked everyone into going along with my plan. I admire your perseverance, courage, and wisdom. You follow me. In making a decision, I rely not on logic but on instinct. He came up with an ingenious, sensible solution and immediately put it into practice. From an objective viewpoint, the former is inferior to the latter. Your idea sounds marvelous in theory, yet I don't think it will work in practice. We expected him to defeat his opponent, but he failed to live up to our expectations. Ironically, despite their best endeavors, their mission resulted in complete failure. Her genius makes up for her lack of first-hand experience. She possesses a great capacity for overcoming any obstacle. Without your solid support, the deal would have fallen through. I'm grateful to you. Bringing flammable items into the cabin is prohibited. Our flight to Vienna was delayed on account of a minor accident. The plane blew up and plunged into the ocean, killing all the people on board. They are working around the clock, looking into the cause of the crash. Unfortunately, few passengers survived the catastrophe. The aviation expert analyzed the statistics in detail. On behalf of all the staff, I'd like to express our sympathy for the victims. In a sense, he is to blame for the disaster. The vehicles are inspected for defects for every 3 months. I was amazed to see that our utility bills came to so much. Turn the faucet off, Mom yelled in a rage. Tighten the lid so the food doesn't go bad. Can I borrow your scissors? Sure, here you are. You can substitute some transparent glue for a needle and thread. I dyed this fabric and it shrunk. I'm getting rid of this leather jacket because it's worn out at the elbows. Add some flour to the mixture and stir it until it becomes thick. What should we do with the leftovers? Keep them in the fridge for now. I'll heat them in the microwave later. I could have wasted all that money on a new PC, but on second thought, I decided to put some aside for a rainy day. A cell phone has become something of a necessity, and I can't do without one. No sooner had I sat back and relaxed than my wife asked me to do the chores. She laid the baby down and lay down beside him. Put this stuff away. It's in the way. When the kids made believe they were dinosaurs, they were scolded by their mother. After he bumped into the shelf, the priceless china fell and shattered into fragments. Can you keep an eye on my kids? For a while? I need to pick up a can. No problem. Our neighbor told us for making mess in his yard. Dolly resembles her big sister in every way. You can't tell them apart. As a rule, twins have a lot in common. I'm tired of doing the dishes, doing the laundry, and so on. My favorite pastime is strolling along the shore. It's pleasant. I'm exhausted. Let's take a break in the shade. Why not? Bob, this vending machine is out of order. Oh no, I'm dying of thirst. He fainted with hunger and fatigue, but came to after a while. The auditorium was empty except for a single piece of furniture. Any apartment will do as long as the rent is low. I'm not particular about it. His 60-year-old cousin inherited a piece of real estate by lake. So much for small talk. Let's get down to business. Lucy resented the aggressive salesman trying to make her sign the contract. There are a number of factors discouraging us from investing in stock. Japan imports various raw materials and exports manufactured goods. In the course of its economic development, Japan has abandoned its traditional values. The world is faced with an unprecedented crisis. In short, the purpose of the regulations is to protect domestic industries. In order to keep up its competitiveness in the world, Japan must undertake sweeping deregulation in earnest. We cannot turn our backs on desperate people who are at risk. Turn our backs on desperate people who are at risk. The parliament decided to provide the developing country with financial aid. Some say the British monarchy should be abolished. What do you think? They sought shelter from the attack shelter from the attack but found no place to hide. There's little prospect that the two countries will make significant progress in disarmament. There's little prospect that the two countries will make significant progress in disarmament. The negotiations are underway. Before long, they will enter a crucial phase. The slaves were anxious to alter their destinies. The aristocrats abused their privileges to their heart's content. The revolution in itself bore fruit, after all. Bob cut in our conversation, saying, "I'm against it." But everybody ignored him. We skipped his turn on purpose. He saw someone being bullied, but he turned a blind eye. When Nick and I cheated on the exam, I was suspended from school. As for Nick, he got away with it. They are hostile to Richard because they are jealous of his wealth and status. I hate him. He behaves as if he were somebody. In spite of our compliments, he frowned and turned away. He was so rude. He claimed that the enormous property was at his disposal. The more stubborn you are, the more isolated you become. Don't beat around the bush. What am I supposed to do? Just wait and see. Time will tell. Please hand in your assignment via email no later than 5 p.m. on June 10. Joe is anything but diligent. That's why he flunked math again. His thesis doesn't make sense. To begin with, its theme is obscure. His essay was concise and to the point. How are you going to deal with this complicated problem? Leave it to me. It's a piece of cake. Nick, I want you to look this over before I turn it in. Sorry, but I have my hands full right now. What if I don't meet the deadline? I bet he'll get mad at you. Your summary leaves nothing to be desired apart from the terrible handwriting. You ought to think over whether the premise is valid or not. Above all, scientific terms call for precise definitions. First of all, learn the formula by heart. To calculate the volume, multiply the length by the width, the depth. To calculate the volume, multiply the length by the width by the depth. Tiny cracks were found in the bottom of the barrel. This chapter will focus on the concept of geometry. Phil is much more interested in academic subjects than in practical skills. Some things are gone wrong with this microscope. We need to have it repaired. Let me see it. Maybe I can fix it. What is an instrument? For instance, a gauge such as a thermometer or barometer. The minute particles are barely visible to the naked eye. Muscle tissue consists of a vast number of cells. This substance is mostly composed of hydrogen and oxygen. The exact temperature is 22.68 degrees Celsius. Naomi likes to show off her perfect figure. I wish I was thin like her. I envy her. You could go on a diet. I fell in love with Naomi at first sight. 3 months later, I took a chance and proposed to her. But she turned me down. I met the man by chance. He's gentle and smart. He's gentle and smart. What's more, he's single. His nephew was brought up to be modest and considerate. His nephew was brought up to be modest and considerate. I introduced Bob to my folks, and they took to him at once. People should be judged not so much by how they look as by who they are. It's not your title that counts, that's for sure, exclaimed Bob. As a self-made man put it, a man of vision will make good in the end. Keep in mind that youth is not eternal. I can't figure out why on earth everybody feels so much contempt for Bob. I can't help laughing at him because he keeps on making stupid mistakes. He'd be the last person to learn his lesson. To make matters worse, he isn't even conscious of annoying us. To make matters worse, he isn't even conscious of annoying us. Since I was in a hurry, I put my gloves on inside out by mistake. Dave is fat and clumsy. When he leaped over the shallow stream, he stumbled and twisted his ankle. I'm scared of heights. You're a coward. The passive man seldom, if ever, expresses himself in public. Nick convinced me that all superstitions are irrational. I tremble with fear. I tremble with fear at the thought of an injection. Since Bob is lazy at heart, he frequently neglects his duties. While Bob was at work, Jennifer was at home absorbed in silly soap operas. Bob likes cartoons, but I don't think much of them. Bob likes cartoons, but I don't think much of them. As a matter of fact, they are boring. It occurred to me that he was holding something back because he wouldn't look me in the eye. When her patience gave out, she grabbed his collar and swore at him. I must admit we quarrel every now and then, but generally we are on good terms with each other. Do you mind if I stop by your house? No, not at all. Be my guest. Hold on, I'll be right back. Don't hang up. I can't put you up. For one thing, my dad drops in on me from time to time. While Jennifer was standing still, Bob was pacing back and forth along the sidewalk. Let's make up, Lisa. Stop taking me for granted. We are through for good this time. I mean it. Come on, don't get so emotional, Lisa. I didn't mean to hurt you. Let's talk it over. You betrayed me. Please forgive me. How can I make it up to you? I'll get even. You should confess your sins rather than conceal them. Keep your word. Otherwise, you'll end up losing faith. Bob sticks to his moral principles and believes that honesty pays off in the long run. Cheer up. You couldn't help it. I did my best. I know. Don't dwell on the past. You can start over. Jane, please do me a favor and give me a ride to Times Square. I wish I could, but I'm tied up right now. As usual, Mike turned up on time. He's very punctual. The other day, I ran out of gas in the middle of a busy interstate. A truck driving ahead of me skidded, turned over, and scattered its load and all over the road. He recalled that the collision had been avoided by sheer luck. In case of an emergency, get in touch with my agent right away. Jane, where are we heading? I think we are lost. We went in the wrong direction. Damn, pull over. My rusty Ford broke down, obstructing the intersection. There are so many scratches and dents on its surface. It's no use policing it. Hey, we are stuck in a traffic jam. Chill out, Joe. Let's take a shortcut. We'll get there in time. I've got a flat tire. Can you give me a hand? I'd be glad to. The ambulance went out of control and came close to running over the pedestrian. He contends that primitive life once existed on Mars. The crew is busy preparing for the voyage into outer space. They conducted a series of experiments under zero gravity. Many astronomers assume that the universe will expand infinitely. Many astronomers assume that the universe will expand infinitely. The astronauts were greeted with a spontaneous applause. A fund was set up with a view to preserving our endangered planet. The massive flood paralyzed the local transportation network. The equator divides the globe into two hemispheres. I think it's cruel to trap animals for fur coats. The organization plays a principal role in wildlife conservation. Many fragile species are on the verge of extinction. The prolonged drought did severe damage to the crops. Tropical rainforests are quickly disappearing on a global scale. In part, it's due to acid rain. It is said that global warming is directly related to carbon dioxide emissions. The destruction of the ozone layer affects the environment. The committee called on all nations to work side by side to curb air pollution. A satellite was launched into orbit to monitor melting glaciers.